So what happens when a family's grief gets totally pushed aside by, well, greed? Today, we're diving into The Dear Departed, a play that's over 100 years old, but its takedown of materialism and neglect, it feels like it could have been written yesterday. Let's get right into it.
But, before we jump into this play from 1908, let's actually start with a feeling that is completely timeless. Because to really get what this story is about, you first have to understand this really human problem, that fear of being overlooked, of becoming invisible, especially as we get older.
I mean, just listen to this. These are lines from a 72-year-old's diary. It's such a powerful gut punch of what loneliness feels like, right? The feeling that you've basically become a ghost in your own life way before you're actually gone. This feeling right here, that's the core of the story we're about to unpack.
And this isn't just something from a diary. Look at this headline from BBC News. Elderly neglect is a huge modern-day issue. It's wild, isn't it? The same anxieties from 100 years ago are still making news today. So, with that in our minds, let's finally turn to the play.
Okay, so let's tie that feeling directly to the play. Stanley Houghton's work, it's not just some stuffy old period piece. Oh no, it is a sharp, really funny takedown of how family values can just completely fall apart when money and stuff get involved. And as we just saw, that theme is, wow, still so relevant.
All right, so the play kicks off in the sitting room of a little house in some small English town. A family's getting ready for a funeral, but, and here's the big catch, the guy they're about to mourn isn't actually dead. Yeah, this one little misunderstanding is the spark that's going to light a pretty hilarious and honestly kind of pathetic fire.
So first up, let's meet the Slaters. Now, you're going to want to keep a close eye on Mrs. Amelia Slater. The play describes her as vigorous, which is a nice way of saying she's determined to get her own way. Her husband, Henry, he's a bit more of a pushover. And then there's their daughter, Victoria, who's really the only innocent person in the room. They've just found their father, Abel, lying completely still in his bed, and they've jumped to a conclusion.
And right away, this moment tells you everything you need to know about Mrs. Slater's character. Her father is supposedly dead upstairs. And what's her first thought? Not grief. Nope. It's about how to get her hands on his bureau before her sister shows up. You gotta remember, for the middle class back then, your possessions, your furniture, that was a huge symbol of your social status.
And this just lays out the central conflict of the play perfectly, doesn't it? On one hand, you have what they should be doing, mourning their father. And on the other, what they are doing, literally stealing furniture from a supposedly dead man's room. It's shocking, but it's also so darkly funny.
So, just as the Slaters have managed to haul the bureau downstairs, there's a knock at the door. And yep, you guessed it, the other half of the family is here. The tension is about to go through the roof.
So, in walk Amelia's sister, Elizabeth Jordan, and her husband, Ben. Now get this, the stage directions describe Mrs. Jordan as having an irritating air of always being right. We all know someone like that, right? The rivalry and the suspicion between these two sisters, you can feel it the second they're in the same room.
And look, while they might be rivals, they're basically two sides of the same greedy coin. They're both driven by the exact same thing, materialism. Amelia, she acts fast, just grabs what she can. Elizabeth is a bit more calculating. She's immediately talking about the will, the insurance money, and making sure she gets her fair share.
Oh, this line from Mrs. Jordan just says it all. The family sits down for tea, right? Supposedly in mourning, but the conversation, without skipping a beat, just shamelessly turns to making a list of the dead man's stuff. Grief is just like a quick commercial break before they get down to the business of inheritance.
But just as they're busy dividing up all the loot and bickering over who gets what, the plot is about to take a massive turn. An unexpected guest is about to crash this very weird tea party.
So little Victoria, remember, she's the only one showing any real sadness. She gets sent upstairs to her grandpa's room to find the keys for that bureau they just stole. But when she comes back down, she is absolutely terrified. She slams the door behind her and can't even get a word out.
The adults are just annoyed, thinking she's just being a dramatic kid. But we, the audience, we know something is seriously wrong here. I mean, what could possibly have scared her so much in a dead man's room?
And then, there he is, the dear departed himself, Abel Merriweather, standing right at the top of the stairs, alive and totally fine. Turns out, he was just in a really, really deep sleep.
The ghost at this tea party is the very man they were all there to mourn.
The shock is it's immediate and it's hilarious. Abel is just casually wondering where his new slippers are, completely clueless about the whole drama. But of course, Henry is wearing them. And Mrs. Jordan's line, so sharp and cynical, stepping into a dead man's shoes in such haste, it just perfectly sums up the dark humor of this whole mess. Now the family tries to scramble to cover their tracks, but Abel is no fool. He's sharp. He pretty quickly pieces together what's been going on while he was, well, gone. And just like that, the man they thought was a powerless corpse now holds all the cards.
And there it is. Abel calls them out, right to their faces. He sees his bureau in the wrong room. He sees the clock, the mourning clothes. He's heard them arguing. The ugly truth of his daughter's greed is just laid bare for everyone to see, and he does not hold back.
And he's not just going to stand there and yell about it. Oh no. Abel announces he has a plan, a very decisive plan, and it's all going down first thing Monday morning.
This is his checkmate move. He's going to do 3 things. 1, change his will, leaving them absolutely nothing. 2, march down to the insurance office and pay his premium so they can't touch his money. And 3, the biggest bombshell of all, he's going to St. Philip's Church to get married. He's choosing a whole new family.
And who's the lucky bride? Not some stranger. It's Mrs. John Shorrocks, the woman who runs the local pub, the Ring o' Bells. See, he's found companionship and respect somewhere else, and he's choosing to build a new life with her instead of with his own family.
And this final line, oh, it's the perfect, most ironic twist. Abel actually turns his daughter's greed right back on her. Her big rush to steal the bureau? Well, it just made it easier for him to move it to his new home. He literally thanks her for her theft as he walks out the door, leaving them all just stunned and completely empty-handed. Wow.
So that leaves us with this final question, right? The title, The Dear Departed, obviously refers to Abel. But after seeing how his family behaves, who is truly departed here? Is it the man they thought was dead, or is it any real sense of love, loyalty, or just basic human decency? It's a question that stings just as much today as it did way back in 1908. Thanks for diving into this with us.